Go for it,
Hello.
JP. You popped in.
I did. Hello and welcome to
Absolute game of
Nerd. We are your non-geek, non-nerd hosts, JP and Rohan, and we have a poor guy on today. Rohan, who's this poor chap with us today?
Yeah, today we have Noah of Broke Boy Comics. So, again, you've been watching our show. We've referenced this event numerous times. Noah was at Terrificon. Now, I unfortunately actually didn't even get to the point where I actually met Noah, but I saw him there amongst the big horde of us that were there. But JP met him and was like, hey, we should have Noah on. And I was like, it's a good point. I didn't even get a chance to meet him. So I reached out, have been talking to him since, but wanted to have him on. So Noah, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, no, thank you guys for having me. I very much appreciate it. It's fun, getting to do all this stuff now in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as you, I'm sure have seen, you said you were watching some episodes. We always start with the same first question. What is your origin story when it comes to this hobby?
So I guess I could probably start with growing up. I always was into the Michael Keaton Batman. He was my main Batman growing up. And then
wait, hold on real quick now, as you say that, because before we talk, so JP, I found out Noah is 22, so he is literally essentially half our age.
Yeah.
So you weren't alive in 1989, nor anywhere close to it. So you watched. I mean, how old were you when you watched it?
Oh God. I mean, it's like some of the earliest memories I have of watching movies was that, and then the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, which actually came out the year I was born. So,
okay, that's what I was gonna say. Like, so you're like watching these. I mean, in our kind of sense, like pretty relatively recent-ish. I'm amazed that you watched the '89 Batman, especially when that was like right up before. I mean, for you at least, timeline-wise, like the Dark Knight trilogy came out. What did Batman Begins came out like? Was that
2008?
2008. Yeah.
Was Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah.
Or,
no, Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. Batman
Knight,
Begins was like 05, 06?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it was 06. It was one of those. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you were at the time. If you're 22, you're born to what, 2002 then?
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, did you watch it, Batman, the '89 Batman, when you were 4?
Yeah, honestly, relatively early, like the Michael Keaton and then the other '90s ones, which those had their moments.
Yeah.
But I grew up with all those 4 movies from before 2000, and I honestly didn't watch the Dark Knight trilogy until I was older, which is surprising, actually.
Is this because of your like mom or dad was into the '89 Batman, or okay?
Oh yeah, my mom definitely grew me up right, listening to different music and watching all these movies. Like Back to the Future was my favorite growing up. I love that franchise so much. I actually just got to meet Christopher Lloyd at Rhode Island Con last week.
Very cool.
So it was very cool, yeah. But I grew up with all those, Superman. Actually, not the Superman movies. Superhero movies, the old Fantastic Fours too. I grew up with those. I guess not old, but the 2 they had in the 2000s.
The good ones that they had. I mean, I enjoyed those ones too. So that early 2000 to 2000, let's say 8, before Iron Man came out, there was a lot of good Marvel movies.
Yeah,
that really didn't boost the franchise then, but essentially put them on the big screen. So.
It's those movies, though, that you would say probably prompted Disney to start making them, right? Because Spider-Man 2 set the record for like biggest opening ever. Like they were successful movies, so why not see what else there is? I'm sure is what they were thinking. It is funny. Just again, I do want to get back more to your orchard, but JP and I, when we've had people on that are kind of similar-ish age of you, we've talked about it. It's kind of interesting to think about. You have known essentially in your life, especially as a teenager to an adult, a life without or a life with only the MCU. Whereas like we were into this stuff, and there wasn't really like we had some cartoons which were great, but we had no actual live action content through a lot of those kind of early years where you don't know life without it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, from growing up, there's always superhero movies coming out. Especially with the start of Iron Man and. In 2008, I was 6. So when that first came out, but again, it wasn't until I was older where I really understood like, okay, these movies are all related to each other, going into the Avengers and then the whole MCU franchise. So I didn't really piece it together until I was older, but I grew up with pretty much all of the movies. Yeah.
Got it.
It's funny as you say that. When The Dark Knight came out, I said to a guy who saw it, because I didn't see it in the theaters, I said, "How do they have the Joker again? Didn't he die?"
Yeah.
Batman Returns. He's like, "It's a whole different thing." I'm like, "How do you do that? It's supposed to be consecutive. Like, I thought it was one franchise, and I didn't get the whole branch off and new storyline, new universe type thing." So, even old at the time when those came out, it's probably, I guess, 25 when they came out. So even then, I didn't know the difference.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there was already 3 different Batmans before the second Joker.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but those were all in continuity. Like, that was still the same universe.
Yeah.
They just changed the actor. What will be interesting is we're about to enter a time when there's going to be 2 parallel Batmans, right? When you have the Matt Reeves Batman with Robert Pattinson, and then the James Gunn universe with Brave and the Bold Batman. And I don't know, they haven't cast, obviously, whoever that Batman is.
Yeah.
Or at least announced it. So we are going to have a time where there are 2 parallel Batmans running, which I personally don't have an issue with, but I could see definitely maybe non-comic book people or even some comic book people that could not be happy with that.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see how people already today, I feel like, get confused on, like, even the Joker movie, the standalone, like, is this like, how he's supposed to be? Like, no, it's a different take.
Yeah, even that's that's a third parallel universe. Although I haven't seen the new one, but apparently that was a disaster. Probably not going to go anywhere else after that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it because I feel like I need to watch it, but
yeah,
it was interesting.
I'm gonna definitely. It's supposed to be coming out on stream soon, and like I was planning to go see it, but then I heard how horrible. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna pay to go see it.
Yeah,
it's gonna come out on stream. I will watch it then. Like, I'm definitely still gonna watch it, but obviously, I was obviously super stoked for it because I enjoyed the first one. But anyways,
well, it's funny. I haven't. The only MCU movie I saw this year what came out last year?
Wasn't last year like the Marvels and
Marvels,
Ant-Man?
Yep. Guardians 3.
And Guardians 3, I think those were the 3 that came out last year.
I saw Ant-Man, Guardians 3, to nothing till Wolverine, Deadpool.
Well, there really wasn't. I think Marvels was the only one he missed then.
I missed Marvels. I didn't watch any of the Agatha. What was the other series that came out before that?
Oh, Loki season 2.
I saw Loki.
That was a while ago. There was Echo. I know. Came out.
Yeah.
And then
Echo.
Before that was Secret Invasion too.
There you go.
Yeah, so I missed a bunch of stuff just because there's nothing good. I thought in my eyes.
Well, let me tell you, Echo and Secret Invasion were.
Yeah, I haven't kept up a lot with Marvel recently just because I fell behind. I'm trying to catch other people up is my issue, and then I fell behind. So,
well, you got the Superman shirt on. That looks like Superman 70 Superman.
Yeah, no, it's just a tie-dye Superman shirt I won in a giveaway on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but that trade dress though, I know is exactly what you're talking about from the 70s movies.
Yeah, no, definitely the older movie.
Anyways, we cut you off here going into our tangent here on movies, but 89 Batman kind of started it. Continue on.
Yep. 89 Batman, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Those were my main 2 growing up. And so, I watched all of those, and it wasn't until maybe I was probably around 10, I would say. My grandparents, they have this beach house in this like cottage community, and there's a general store, and someone had brought tons of comic books, and they were giving them out free from the store. So that is how I first got my hands on my first comic books. I got them for free, and it was
what titles were there?
So the main one I picked up was the Brave and the Bold Volume 3. Okay. So that was the one that George Perez did, like the first 12 issues, I think. And I forget who the writer was, but I remember it being George Perez for sure. But that is also how I became a huge Batman fan, because he was in the first issue. He had a really good detective story with Green Lantern in the first issue. So that's kind of what jump-started my love for DC, and then mainly Batman, along with the movies as well. And then, throughout the years, I've gotten comics here and there as gifts, and I bought a few, but I really didn't seriously start collecting until it's been over a year now. So it hasn't been that long.
What was the catalyst to to get into actual like legit collecting?
So over time, like I wanted to be like, all right, you know, I have the Brave and the Bold Volume 3. I think around 2016 with the DC Rebirth, I started picking up All-Star Batman by Scott Snyder, which was a great run. And I started to fill in, you know, the series I was trying to read. And then I came to a point where I was like, all right, I'm just going to get whatever I like, you know? And then it didn't really dive in deep until, again, like just over a year ago, like last summer, I started watching people on YouTube. And it's actually the first people that I actually would like videos of and actually comment. Like I would never do that before until comic book videos.
You just decided to go on YouTube and look up comic related stuff.
Yeah, I got it back into it. I started, you know, re-buying, you know, the series I was trying to read, and I wanted to learn more. So I started watching. I think my main guy in the beginning was Minhunter Comics. So he was kind of the first one I ever liked videos on. The first one I ever commented on, because I never did that before. And it really just snowballed because he has his claim sales all the time. So I went from buying like on My Comic Shop, you know, buying different things, you know, a lot of the Rebirth stuff from DC. And then I started buying on claim sales, and it was all downhill from there.
Now,
you're buying for reading purposes, right? You buying to read them all, or are you buying the key books, like, or combination there?
Like, are you going back in time and buying key books too, or is it just the stuff that's moving forward?
So it's definitely a combination of keys and reading. Recently I've been pretty bad on my reading with, you know, a lot of, you know, life, everything. So I try to keep up with the reading. I actually just a few weeks ago, I finally put together my first pull list at my LCS, which I haven't done before. So that's nice. I started getting.
I got asked what's on the pull list.
Batman, Detective Comics, and Nightwing. So
okay,
yeah, on brand for me.
So you are primarily a DC guy.
I am primarily a DC guy, yeah.
Okay.
But you know, Marvel rules the movie world pretty much. So, you know, for now, yes, I like that thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so mainly a DC guy. But my whole life I've always been a collector too, so I definitely am also have the completionist mindset. So that is also an issue of why I'm called Broke Boy Comics. Yeah, and all the stuff I primarily like. But recently, though, as far as your question of modern or going back in time, I do have the sense of, man, I really need to catch up on the last 80 years of comic books. So I do enjoy a lot. My main thing I've been enjoying recently is the Bronze and Silver Age. Specifically probably the Bronze Age recently. But
are you still just kind of sticking to Batman, or?
So main end goal is hopefully the entire Batman run. Probably not
from Golden Age 1.
Yeah, probably not number 1. That's probably like retirement age. But as much as I can get my hands on is the main goal.
I mean, what number is Batman even on today?
Well, Volume 1 ended in 713, and then there's the new 52 that had 52 issues. And right now, I just got 154 for the Volume 3.
And do they do any legacy numbering on those, even though they've like started new volumes? I'm just curious.
No, I don't think DC really does the legacy numbers like Marvel does right now. But I mean, quick math, you figure it out.
yeah. So we're at 700 and what did you say?
The first volume was 713, not including variants.
So 713 plus 52, so 765 plus the 150 something, right? So we're talking, 900-ish comics at the moment, and growing
and counting.
Detective Comics in that run too, right?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Are you not doing the Detective Comics at all, though? Are you?
I am doing Detective Comics, but my main focus is the main Batman title. Sure. Detective Comics I do have a decent amount of, but it's definitely more of like a side series that I'm collecting. Like
a little side piece.
Yeah, I got a lot of side pieces, but Batman is my main guy.
I'm just curious, though, of the 900-ish books, where are you in terms of volume, like number-wise?
Number-wise? Oh God. I basically have an entire long box. So whatever that is, that's like $350, I think, is how much a long box holds.
About
Something like
$250.
that. Yeah, $250. But what I ended up starting doing was how I kind of jump started my collection in the beginning was mycomicshop.com has those value packs. We get like 30 comics for like $15. So I got a Batman, a Flash, and an X-Men. And that's how I jump started my collection. And out of the Batman ones, the most of what I had was from in between issues 400 and 500. So that's where I've really been focusing, trying to get that run done. I'm about 3/4 of the way done. So I have like 25 books left of that in between there. But I do, it's my main focus, but I do all around. I have a lot of Batman books.
I'm curious now. I myself, being a big kind of key kind of collector kind of type person, what are the big ones you have in your collection or are up there for you?
So if I turn around right here,
there we go.
Dismantle my wall a little bit. My probably second favorite one right now, 9.8 First Bane.
But that's not in the Batman run, though, correct?
It is not. No,
Yeah.
It is. Okay. It's technically not. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the big problem. That's the big problem with Spider-Man, Batman. Like, there's so many of these offshoots of books that, like, when you're going digging through a long box at a flea market, you're like, oh, I haven't seen this before. Let me grab it, and it's not part of Batman, but it's some.
Yeah, it's like Legends of the Dark Knight.
I mean, yeah, think about it, right? With Batman, you've got Batman, you got Detective Comics, you got Brave and the Bold,
Legends of the Dark Knight, Shadow of the Bat, you have
World's Finest.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes on and on. It's
just
insane.
like Spider-Man for Marvel, right? There's just endless different titles involved with it. Anyways, I cut you out there. What was the other one you were going to show there?
Well, to JP's point, the other one's technically not in the main Batman run, but it's the Detective Comics, the second Mr. Freeze.
Oh, the Mr. Freeze, yeah. That's like the first one outside of the Golden Age, or outside of this. I know. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so technically not in the main Batman run, but they're my biggest like Batman keys, I guess you would say.
I'm curious, as a Batman fan, do you have a favorite villain of Batman's?
Oh, Mr. Freeze for sure.
Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
Because you're a huge Arnold fan?
No, his take was again.
You're not an Arnold fan? We're done.
No, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just with that role, it was a little iffy. That whole movie was so campy. Yeah. But it has its own, it has its own vibe to it. But no, I really fell in love with him after watching the animated series from the 90s. Yes, I need that book. I love Mr. Freeze. I guess it's more of like the sympathetic kind of side to him, with his story with his wife and everything. I really enjoy his origin story and like the reason why he does all that stuff. But I don't know.
Batman 121, baby. That you gotta get that bad boy.
One day it will be mine because eventually
that costly. I don't. It's what is it like in a 3.0? Is it like a $4,000 or $5,000 book?
No. You could get it. You could get a 3.0 for about. You can get it for about $1,200.
If I saw one on Grails or somebody for like $5,000, I was like, I didn't really think that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one that definitely once you start to get you don't even have to get to like super high grade, but like once you kind of get to like 5, maybe even like a 4 to 5, it will like really start to jump. But you could get kind of like 3.0. You could like. I wouldn't be shocked if you saw a 3.0 around 2K, but like, keep your eye. You could probably get like a 2.5, maybe or something. Like you could find some around 1,200, and then I have definitely seen raw lower, like low grade copies in the $700 to $800 range.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my plan with a lot of the big keys is probably to get them raw first and then grade them afterwards. I feel like it's just going to be more cost effective that way for bigger keys like that.
Yeah, it could definitely be. But I mean, if you then want to grade it, it could be an expensive book to grade as well. So
yeah, you're right. I have I guess actually the biggest Batman key that I have, I don't technically have it on me, but it's Batman 189, the first silver
Scarecrow. Yeah.
That is at CGC right now. So and it's also my first submission technically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What do you mean technically?
So I mean, I gave it to someone at Terrificon to clean and press.
Oh, okay.
And
and they submitted it.
They submitted it for me.
Yeah, that's yours. That's your submission.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Like,
So you went through the whole process of getting it all, everything done. And I've only done 5 submissions in my time of collecting. So, and that was enough for me. So
yeah, I know. And it was at just the right time. Cause they, right after I gave my book away, they had the whole Banana Gate thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, shoot, well, now let's hold off because we don't want to send in our books with all that going on. So I think it just as of like a few weeks ago, it finally got shipped to CGC. So,
nice.
you had your presser like hold on to it.
Yeah. Just with that whole thing going on, I was like, might be safe just to wait a little bit, let it die down.
Who's your presser? Comics Box.
His name was Bobby. I think he owned Retro World. I think he was a friend of he was a friend of a friend. Pretty much, I got recommended to, so I went with the recommendation.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You mentioned having multiple side pieces. You also said you got the. You also said that you got those collector packs for Flash and X-Men. Was it? Are those some of the other side pieces then?
Yeah. So Flash is probably my second favorite character as far as heroes in DC. X-Men, I'm actually getting rid of all my X-Men books soon.
Ooh, sacrilege to some people.
Yeah, I know. I definitely want to read like the Chris Claremont run at some point, but as far as collecting single issues, they're not on my focus right now.
So are you getting rid of them because you're like, hey, I can't spread myself too thin. Let me sell these and focus here. So put that money there. Is that kind of the plan?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm getting together like a little bit of inventory, and I'm gonna have my first show I'm gonna sell at in May. So I'll have plenty of time.
You're gonna have a table.
Yeah, it might be like half a table. I don't have that much stuff, but I'm going to start to fund the hobby is kind of the general idea so that I can get
then you're going to have to change your name from Broke Boy.
No. I always stay broke because of the hobby. That's what it is. So
it's definitely tough because, I sell on eBay, and if you build up some money in eBay, and then I'm like, oh, look at that cover. Oh, I could buy that one.
Right.
Buy that one. And next thing you know, I wasn't saving up for what I wanted. And you got to have focus sometimes. If there's something you really want, then you can definitely get broke quickly just buying everything you see.
Absolutely. And that's what my first year of collecting has pretty much been. So right now is like, all right, what do I really need to focus on? Who would I really care about? What volumes of characters do I?
Yeah, and I think that's, and we've talked about this.
You can focus on. See right there, this guy.
That's what you could just.
I do have that one, however, it's in my sale box.
Yeah, good man. I mean, I was gonna say we've talked about this with numerous guests before, though, right? It's the evolution of the collector, right? All of us, again, you're someone that's young, and so you haven't. JP and I, like a lot of us, like you said, you hang out with people that are like your dad's age. We've come back and that first year, it's like, you're exactly right. You're just, I want that. Oh, I want that. You're just buying. And then you're like, okay, I've got to actually figure out what I really want and what I want to do and focus. And that is a natural progression. So
yeah, definitely. I haven't made my full cycle around yet. So,
and I mean, I'll tell you, even I think the evolution is something that will always be happening. So,
right. Yeah. I agree 100%. But yeah, my first 6 months is most of my comic buying was on claim sales.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very dangerous if for the people who do claim sales, when you're sitting in there, it's like an auction. So he'll put up a book and you're like, you have to make that split-second decision if you want it or not, because someone will have faster internet than you and take it. So
yeah, I am consistently amazed, impressed. I don't know what the right word is, but you pop on Instagram any evening, even the closer you get towards the weekend, the more. I mean, there could be up to 12 different claim sales going on. And these are people that do them weekly, even twice a week. And I'm always just like, it's crazy that their shows get filled up with, 30, 40, 60, 80 people. And it's just like, man, it's crazy to me, to think about,
it is. It's crazy to me too. Especially for the people that do them every single night, which I notice a lot, or every other night. It's definitely a lot, but I definitely, as far as my selling, I definitely want to do in person. I don't know. I don't like the idea of selling like through eBay or selling on claim sales. I definitely want more of the in-person interaction. And then hopefully, you know, maybe by the end of the day, someone will be like, hey, let me buy the rest of your table. And then, you know, I'll be good.
And then you go buy Batman 1.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Even if I sold every comic I had, I can't buy Batman 1.
Oh no, you know, I definitely can't. I couldn't even buy Batman 2 with all the comics I have. So
I do think though, and I like and I appreciate, like, I think you should set lofty goals, because in my opinion, like, I don't have any intention to like stop. I don't need an end. Like, I'm just enjoying myself. So like, I like setting lofty goals, and like, I don't need to accomplish them in the next 6 months. Like, if it takes years to get there, so be it. Like I'm fully behind on that. So
yeah, especially with the main Batman run, that is probably the most loftiest goal to have.
Hefty goal.
Here's what we thought to that process, and don't let me burst anyone's bubble. You can start at your age, you're 20, right? Put money aside for retirement. $100 a week, $100 a month, whatever it may be, and you get to that goal of retirement. But trying to catch that Batman #1 as it continues to go up with inflation is almost like trying to catch a balloon that took off. Like, and again, no one can just drop $1 million today, right? I'm just saying that, but like, you can grow to a goal of like building up this nest egg to retire, or you can build up to this nest egg to buy Batman 1. But like, that piece is going up every day, right? In some fashion. So to get to it, you got to have like big windfalls. You know,
agreed. There have to be significant like life events, things like that allow you to get to that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, if I win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, but there will be signs.
You know, I mean, but here's the thing too. Like, again, this is, you know, playing a little bit in fantasy land, right? But like, you know, in the next, let's just say 15 years for Noah, you could amass a fairly significant collection, right? It may not be Batman 1, right? You could then get to a point in the evolution of collecting, and you're like, you know what? I would trade all of this for a Batman 1.
Absolutely.
And now Batman 1, even in 15 years, is going to be even more expensive. But again, who knows what happens to your collection, what happens, what you come across, what happens you find.
Right.
You could be in a position where it nets you, you know, if you have a collection of, you know, 1,000 books, I'm just throwing numbers out here, right? Like, it could net, I mean, like, for instance, JP, like, we've talked to Lawrence of Mighty Comics and Collectibles. That's how he got his Batman 1. His whole collection prior to was kind of what I like to do, right? These Silver Age, Grail type level books. He essentially took all of them, traded, and then had to add a little bit more cash and got his Batman 1, right? That is, again, but then you have to be okay with like giving everything up for the 1, right?
That would be the hardest thing for me.
Exactly. But in 15 years, that may feel like something that you want to do. And then in truth too, everything you traded to get to that Batman 1 would be a lot easier to get again than trying to get a Batman 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, to get a Batman 1, right? So it's like you trade the smaller fish for the bigger fish, and then nothing says you can't go back and get the smaller fish.
Right. No, I 100% agree. That's definitely a very good way of probably going towards that.
And hey, as we all, if you're watching on Heritage right now, there is a Detective Comics 27. It is a 0.5, but it was found at a garage sale or in a garage of some kind of capacity. And it is currently at $120,000 when I checked 2 days ago. And there's like 18 days left. So
which one is 27?
That's the first appearance of Batman.
Yeah.
That is the book.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was thinking 31. You're talking the tech. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Tech 27, the first appearance of Batman. I mean, it's
that's the one, the crappy one. It was in a garage sale. Yep.
Yeah. It's in rough shape, but it's complete. It's a blue label and it's a 0.5. And I tell you what, if I owned that book and found it in a garage sale, I'd be fucking hyped.
Yeah, no, I would have no complaints if I found that in a garage. No complaints whatsoever.
Yeah.
I do tell you that I found nothing like that, but you find some of these old Golden Age that are just beating the hell like that, and like you don't even want to touch them. Once they go, even putting them in Mylar is like a Mylar. It acts like a razor sometimes and can cut right through.
Yeah.
So you got you got to carefully put them back in there and then never take it back out, because my worry is it's gonna fall apart, right? Because it's just like so beat up, but like I still would take it and then get it graded. This guy, they had it graded, right? It's a 0.5.
Yeah, whoever got it at this garage or garage sale, then has graded it, and now it's on Heritage. So yeah, hence why I said it is a blue label. It is a 0.5.
Then it's all together. You don't worry about it at that point.
Yeah.
But I would probably almost immediately get it graded just so that you don't have to worry about once you touch it falling apart.
Right. No, I definitely would do that too. And with the golden age too, it's definitely one of the ages where it's like you don't really care what grade it is because it's so old that it's like even a 0.5 of a really big book, it's going to be worth a lot. It's going to be a lot to be able to buy it. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the 0.5 is already over $100,000. Like,
it's absolutely insane.
Now, would you buy a restored copy of any of those books, those early Golden Age?
Probably not. I don't necessarily. I don't know. I don't necessarily like restored. I don't like.
I don't either when it comes to Silver Age, but for something like of that significance.
Yeah, if it was something like that and it was a great deal and I had the chance to buy it, there's probably a chance I'd probably snatch it, especially if it was like a Tech 21 or Batman 1. But yeah, I guess it would depend on the instance, like what grade and what was done to it and everything. So
yeah, I mean, you got to think, right? Tech 27, even if you include restored and incomplete, like I still think we're under 100 copies total. Like that's I mean, like we interviewed, I don't know if you know him. It was actually JP, you were gone this day, Mike, co-host with we interviewed Dinesh Shamdasani. He's the he's the one who bought Valiant, and now I'm blanking on the comic company now. But anyways, he has one of the best collections in the world, and he does have a Tech 27. It's like a 2.5. And he told us, like, when he acquired it, like a few collectors reached out and were like, welcome to the Tech 27 club. So it's like, I mean, any way you get your hands on one of those, like, you do it.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, I'm not saying that you put your life savings or sell your house. I'm saying, like, if you can responsibly get one,
right,
I feel like it's a good decision.
Yeah. No, I'd probably have to agree. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel you on like kind of Silver Age and up. It's like there's enough opportunity available, in my opinion, to snag a blue label complete kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'm as far as like slab books, I'm definitely more concerned about the bigger keys. Like if it's a really nice Silver Age book and it's really high, I'm probably not gonna grade it just because I'm probably gonna keep it raw. Save the slab for, the big keys or the significant books.
Yeah, so. I'd be the same way. Like, yeah, I agree. Now, in collecting that run when you're going back, would you also then read those old Batmans?
Not singly, though. I'd probably try my best to find like omnibuses to be able to read all of those because I get nervous with Silver Age because, anything that happens, I just
My main kind of point, though, is like, have you ever tried reading Silver Age books?
Yes.
Like they're, again, it's just the sign of the times, right? It was a different era. Like it's like I've read
they're entertaining.
Like, yeah, I've read FF1 and it's a book that I am chasing. And the fact that book is corny as hell has no effect on me. Like,
yeah,
I want to buy it for its significance, not for its readability.
Oh, 100%. And that's with a lot of Silver Age books. I feel
Yeah.
It's mostly about the significance of the book rather than the actual story. But
yeah,
a lot of my Silver Age, I try to read a lot from my collection, even though I fall behind because it's way easier to just buy bundles of books than read all the bundles of books at the same time. So I'm definitely falling behind, but the kind of goal is catching up reading. And then when I eventually go to sell, I'm going to downsize my collection after I've read a decent amount of it.
Now,
what's the perfect size collection? Were you going to ask that, Rohan? Like perfect size for yourself? How many books is perfect for you? You got, I mean, there's 1,000 roughly of that Batman run. So if you sell all those, is that what you're talking about? All that plus the other stuff, and just keep 100 key books or?
So again, with my completionist mindset, I'm probably going to get as much of the Batman run as I can and not get rid of it. I'm gonna try my
best. That's always gonna stay. At least in today's thinking.
Right. Yeah. The entire Batman will run, the main title, volume 1, 2, and 3. Those are all staying. I'm going to continue to get them as they come out because I finally added to my pull list. So that stuff is staying. But again, kind of rolling back to like side pieces, I collect the Flash, which I'm debating on getting rid of all my modern stuff like volume 3 and 4. Like anything besides volume 1 and 2, I'm thinking about getting rid of for that. I have like all my X-Men books I'm getting rid of. I do have an Amazing Spider-Man collection that is a side piece. I'm not focusing on it mainly. I collect Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Swamp Thing is one I want to complete the run. Oh God, what's another one? There's Teen Titans, the first Teen Titans and second volume. I'm looking to complete those. I just started an Aquaman collection. I love Nick Cardy. This is why I'm collecting like Titans and Aquaman. So
I actually saw your post. Was it today or where you're like, it's Nick Cardy month, and I was like, I don't even know who Nick Cardy is.
I don't know who Nick Cardy is.
Well, again, like I'm not trying to be really like I'm mainly a Marvel guy, right? Outside right. Like I do love Batman, and I have Batman in my collection. I do love Superman, but like. Right. I've honestly never heard of Nick Cardy. So
Nick Cardy was definitely more DC. He did pretty much all of the Teen Titans first volume. Okay. He did pretty much all of the first Aquaman run. He did a great chunk of the Ghost run, part of the Bronze Age horror boom.
Yeah, he looked almost like a Neil Adams artist. Like you would, I mistake him for Neil Adams when I see his work.
Yeah. It's funny because there's some books that I buy. I'm like, oh, I really love this cover. Like, I don't know what it is. And I buy it and I get home and you put it in your app and it's like, oh, no wonder I love it so much. It's this artist. Like it's Nick Cardy. So it's funny because I realized as I was going through my collection, like a lot of my books that I have are Nick Cardy covers. And he did a lot in like Superman and Action Comics too. So I have a good chunk of Bronze Age Superman and Action Comics, and a good amount of them are Nick Cardy covers. And once I realized this, I'm like, I guess I found like one of my favorite artists because I have a lot of them. So
yeah, he was they had a good group of them between Neil Adams, Nick Cardy, and you add in like Milgram. Who else drew for the X-Men?
Well, we talking about like Byrne and
like very like you have McFarlane, you have Eric Larson, those guys, Liefeld, that like you could totally tell. But then there's a group of guys that drew very symmetrically, very well drawn, very great detail, but they weren't like outlandish like McFarlane. And they all were very similar, but George Perez is another one that was very well done. It wasn't like Jack Kirby's crap that he used to draw. This was like they were very good artists, and they were probably another one who drew the Silver Surfer. Buscema. I mean, same thing. Like, you can tell his stuff, but it's very symmetric. It has a look to it of the 70s. I don't know how to explain it, but
no, I 100% agree with you. Yeah, it's definitely, especially with like Bronze Age and Silver Age, it's hard to figure out who the artist was because they all kind of did something similar at the time. There was nobody like a Todd McFarlane back then. I feel like there was nobody that really had that distinctive art style. Besides, I think probably Neil Adams would be the only one because of the angles that he does. If you notice, a lot of his covers, he does specific angles like from below or above and the way he positioned his characters. So I feel like he's probably one of the ones you could tell the most out of. But other than that, like you're saying, it's a little bit harder if you don't know artists by heart. It's a little bit harder to distinguish each one from each other.
I grabbed the number of Nick Cardy Unexpected or Ghost. I'm like, oh, that's a Neil Adams cover. Yeah, he did that. I think it's Brave and the Bold, where House of Mysteries and Batman. It was like a cover with there's a door and Batman's below the door and there's like a finger pointing like come up this way.
Oh yeah,
and that's Neil Adams. But Nick Cardy drew the same similar series, and I thought the books I was grabbing was like, oh, that's another Neil Adams. Nope. I even posted online, and I think No Good Comics was like, no, that's Nick Cardy. It's not Neil Adams. And I was like, all right, you're right. I didn't check. I just assumed because if you look at every one of Neil Adams covers, he has a number. He doesn't sign his name on it. At least I don't see it. There's a
Oh,
number.
I never noticed that before, actually.
Did he? I guess I've never actually like I have Batman 227 and a couple others of his. I guess I've never actually looked if that's the case.
Look at the left-hand corner, or you'll see a number, and Nick Cardy's the same way. I'll try to grab one of his here maybe after we're done, but they just had a number, so they didn't have their name on it.
That's interesting. I actually didn't know that.
The book, there isn't it wasn't clear and distinct who the artists and writers were in the DC books.
Yeah, no, I feel like back then they didn't really sign their names at all. No. I didn't notice it. You don't really notice it a lot. I as I'm collecting more Silver and Bronze Age, they don't really sign.
And Marvel was big, a story by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, right. But with those Batman and House of Mystery, it was like, who drew this, right? And it wasn't like in the indicia or whatever the opening of the book. So
yeah, Marvel was definitely big on the brought to you by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby, right on the splash page or something like that.
No, absolutely.
And I think now the DC books put the splash page on that's the splash page, but the credit is on the back page, depending on what era you buy in. So when I pick up the book, I'm like, who drew this? And I got to go to the back and find it there. It's not in the front. So
yeah, I definitely noticed that a lot of the different ages, they put them in different spots depending on what time they came out. So
yeah, you get used to Marvel, and then when I switch back to DC, they're not the same, right? So you got to get used to that part of it. So
yeah, definitely.
But I do like Nick Cardy. He's one I just discovered recently. So
you discovered him a long time ago. You just didn't know it was him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's the same for me too.
Same with Buscema. I didn't know him either. So
Noah, talk to us. When did you have a YouTube channel? When did that start? What brought that about?
So my first ever show that I went to, my first ever small con, local, was actually a year ago. At probably the end of this month, it'll be a full year from my first show that I ever went to. And at that show, it was the first time I ever met Mike from Lunch Money Comics. And it's funny because I actually ended up appearing in his video of that show. He was helping a guy sell his collection. And
the guy, the basement.
Yeah, super nice guy. I talked to him a lot at that show. But he pointed the camera at the guy that he was helping sell. I think I forget his name, but I was over there looking through the books, and the guy pointed to me, and then Mike just all of a sudden turned his camera, and there I was like, oh. So I was definitely caught off guard, but that was technically my first.
So first appearance of Noah Broke Boy is
Lunch Money appearance. Yep. Yeah. And at that same show,
first appearances there.
Yeah. At that same show too, 3 Men in the Basement was set up, and I talked to Chinmo at that show, and he was very welcoming, as is the whole community. That's what I love about it, how welcoming everyone is and how nice most people are. But yeah, I talked to Chinmo for a while, and he was like, oh, we have the crawls that we do, we have a swap that we do in however many months. And it wasn't until May of this year actually that I went to the 3 Men in a Basement swap. And that was when I was there all day. I talked to probably almost every single vendor there, really shooting it up with everyone. If you guys know 360 Comics in Popocatépetl Town from Pennsylvania, they came up for it too. And I buy from Joe a lot before. So I talked to him. I bought some books from them. And then they had a after party, which it wasn't it was an open
where everyone was karaoke singing.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So it was an open invitation to everyone. But it was mostly the vendors and the close group of friends of 3 Men in a Basement, and a lot of the sellers. So I got asked multiple times because I was talking it up with everyone, hey, we have the after party. You're going to come? I said, yeah, because I told myself earlier that day, I said, if anyone asks me if I'm going to go, I'm going to go. So, but that is kind of how I got into the group. I went to the after party, had a great time with Mike and, Joe and other Mike from Popocatépetl Town. And that's where I met, got closer to the 3 Men in a Basement and all their friends and everyone in the area. And then after that is when I got inspired to create an Instagram. I started off with my Instagram account because I liked the idea of sharing all the stuff that I was getting. Because I feel like that was the day I got my first Bane 9.8. I was like, I want to show this off to, however much people as I can. So I started off with my Instagram account, got that going, was posting all my stuff from my pickups, and then started with random stuff in my collection. And then from that point forward, people started to ask me, hey, when's your YouTube channel coming? Like as a joke. And I did actually always think about it. And then I finally one day said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to start a YouTube. We'll see how it goes. And I've only done it for, I think 3 months now is the oldest video I have. And I've done surprisingly well than what I thought I was going to. I did not think I was going to be getting like, I have one video that just hit over 3,000 views.
Nice.
Yeah, which I never thought in a million years that I was going to be able to do in just a few months. And I'm almost at 500 subscribers. So definitely something, unexpected. It definitely helped out with everyone sharing and kind of growing a little bit of connections in the beginning with the Instagram and with the people in the community that I started seeing in person. So
let me ask you this, Noah. JP and I, we're old guys. We've got wives. We got kids. Are you a single guy?
Yes and no.
Oh,
talking to someone at the moment. So
this is perfect then. So are you like, hey, I got a YouTube channel. I got First Bane. Is that it? JP and I, we cover the days where it's like, you want to come see my fish tank?
Yeah. So it was definitely something I mentioned on the first date.
No, really? All right, you got to elaborate here then.
So because comics have become such a big part of my life with the YouTube and my passion about the hobby and the community and everything, I feel like it was definitely something I should probably mention on the first date. That like, hey, I am pretty nerdy, just to give you a warning. Like, this is what I do, so.
And the response you got?
Well, going pretty well. So, and that's what it is. You take someone that accepts you is for you. So,
well, I guess it depends. If you're playing basketball and you meet a girl, or you're at the gym, you don't really have to, like, if you say have a nerdy side, you can tell them then if you're doing something cool. But like, if she saw you, I don't know what would be nerdy. Like if you're at the library or something, then you don't have to know you're nerdy. She already knows that.
He's at a LARPing festival, JP.
Yeah. No, yeah. Definitely funny. No, I knew this girl from high school, so she knew me before all of this stuff happened. So
nice.
When she's like telling her parents about you, like, Dad, he has a YouTube channel.
I don't know. I think they definitely know about me. I don't know if they know that much, but
yeah, it doesn't get our YouTube channel doesn't get us very far, but
but JP, let's ask you that question. You got your kids are older than mine. If your daughter was like, Dad, I met this guy, he has a YouTube channel, would you be like, oh,
like, what's he doing on
that?
Yeah, it would definitely depend on what the YouTube channel is for sure.
Yeah. Because you can find just about anything on that stuff now these days, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Do you guys do the hobby together at all? Like, is she in any of this stuff?
No, not at all.
Okay. So you're not like, hey, you want to go to the 3 Men in the Basement Comic-Con? And she's like,
no.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. That's in May. We got a decent amount of time if it lasts that long, but
that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. Always hope. Always have positivity. But no, it's usually, this actually happened with my last one, where, I had to, involve them in, hey, let's watch all the Batman movies.
They were like, I'm out.
Let's watch all the Star Wars movies. They got into it though. So
I just love the idea of, she's like, Noah, it's me or Batman, and Noah's like, see you later.
I'm Batman.
I moved into this neighborhood a bunch of years ago, and that's when The Dark Knight had come out, and I had just watched it, and I thought it was awesome, like one of my favorite movies at the time. And a friend of mine in the neighborhood, there was a bunch of guys, like you could like basically walk out of your house, walk across the street, go drinking with somebody there, go down, 2 doors down. It was like pretty tight knit. And I said to the guy, you want to come over and watch Dark Knight? And he's like, is this like a gay thing? And I was like, dude, not that there's anything wrong with that. But I was like, no, I just think it's a great movie. If you want to watch it, I'm like, Jesus, why you gotta take it there? Like, so yeah, so that's the last time I used that as a way to like someone you just drink with. Hey, come watch Dark Knight with me. Like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. So
yeah,
not my type, JP. You're not my type.
The title of the movie kind of, it could be taken one way or the other.
Yeah, you maybe should have said like Spider-Man. Maybe that kind of lets.
I should have said the Titanic. Maybe that would have been like the guarantee there.
Maybe just say, "Do you want to come over and watch a movie?" And then from there,
I just thought it was a groundbreaking movie that everyone should have watched. I thought it was awesome, but he was like, "What's going on with that?" And I was like, "I forget."
Are you still friends with this guy, JP?
Somewhat. I moved away from that town, so I don't see him anymore. Yeah. But he was like. He was a meathead. He liked, lifting and like, construction type guy. So, anything nerdy, he was like, nerds. He's like the ogre guy in our neighborhood. He would, that way that ogre says nerds, he says it perfectly too. So funny dude, but yeah, he wasn't into that nerdy shit.
So no, I'm curious, since you are in that kind of northeast corner of the country, you've mentioned a lot of claim sales, but I mean, us just knowing Mike and seeing like all the various places he goes to kind of hunt, are you into that as well, or you primarily stick online?
No, I definitely switched a lot more of in-person hunting and shows than from online, because online claim sales, like I said, it's very impulsive. Like you could spend bread in just a night. And it's even worse. We're like, oh, if you're really cool with the person, like I'll pay you on my payday. So like you don't even have the money at the time. But when you actually go on,
that's how you become broke boy right there.
Exactly. That is where the name came from. But yeah, when you're actually in person, you need to have the money on you. So you have it's way better to budget when you're going out hunting or in person. And I just like the idea of the hunt. I like being able to look through a box, especially even like warehouse boxes where they're not even organized and you can come across absolutely anything. I think that's just a lot of fun. And, I like the experience of going to cons and small shows too, and talking with vendors and making those connections. And because once you do, you get people that will know you and come back, and then you get good deals. So I definitely like doing that. I've been definitely leaning more towards doing almost all my buying in person now.
Yeah, I always wonder, like on a claim sale, especially when it comes to like, you'll find claim sales that like they'll sell a $5,000 book, for example. And I'm always kind of blown away, like, because like you said, like they put it up. It's not like you have like great photos to reference.
Right.
It's like you kind of have this like grainy ass Instagram video. It's the book you want, but you can't really see a lot of the detail. And then people just be like, claim. And I'm always like, damn. Like I would definitely need a little bit more than that to buy a book that big.
Yeah, no, they'd show it probably like right here, and then they put it up on their wall, and you see it super far away.
Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, that was also a main reason why I liked buying in person more, because I get to actually handle the book. I can see all the defects. I can, if it's a Silver Age or something, I can take it out, open it up, make sure it's complete. No water damage or anything, all that stuff. It's definitely, I find it a lot easier and a lot better to do that in person, because
I'm okay like buying on Instagram where I can at least ask for pictures, but like you're talking about, like in that claim sale kind of setting, it's like
right.
There's times when I wanted to be like, hey, can we just like connect after so we can like take a little closer look? But it's like gone.
Yeah, no, some people will do that, but that's if the book doesn't sell though.
Yeah,
right, on that claim sale. But yeah, no, and as far as condition and stuff, like pretty much anything probably mid 80s and up, I'm like a spine tick snob, which also makes it easier to budget my money, because I'll pull out a book with a bunch of spine ticks. I'm like, no, I'll wait. So that definitely actually helps too. But yeah, I like
9.8, or just you don't like the spine ticks?
I'm not looking to grade, especially with like non-keys like filler Batman books. I'm not looking to grade. It's probably the OCD in me, like seeing, like, especially if it's a big one, I'm like, I don't know. I like the idea of having a clean book, very nice condition. Like, so I don't know. I'm just a little bit of a snob about it, I guess. No, but once you get into like Bronze Age, Silver Age, you care a lot less about that because of the age of those books.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, I get that, like on the, especially like those books probably aren't, the difference in price between some of these books, whether they have a spine ticker, is probably marginal. So why not get the better one? Yeah,
and I've been definitely finding the more I've collecting, I'm like, I care a little bit less and less, especially with the 400 and 500 run of Batman. I'm so close to being done. I'm at the point I'm like, all right, the next one that I find that's in decent condition, even if it has some defects, I'm grabbing it because I just want to finish this run at this point. So I'm definitely starting to get to that part in collecting where I'm like, all right, if it's just a filler book, I definitely am starting not to care as much.
Yeah, I was collecting just the Peter Parker Spec Spider-Man run 1 to 100, and there's a couple keys in there that just I don't care enough about the key. I just wanted to complete the run, like White Tiger, Cloak and Dagger, and like $60 for these books. I'm like, I don't care what it looks like as long as looks presentable enough. If I could find it for 10 or 20 bucks, I was happy, even though it might have been a little more messed up. But I don't know if there's many in that Batman run that are like that are high, that are keys. So I don't know if you have that issue or not.
I mean, the biggest book between 400 and 500 is 423, the classic Todd McFarlane cover. Yeah. I did acquire that actually recently, so I guess that'd be up there in my
first print.
There
you go.
Yeah, it's about like a 9092, I think. So
that's a book though where I think it pays off to be picky, because if you get that orange book with a lot of spine ticks, it doesn't look great.
Yeah,
right,
I agree.
Right, like that's when I've had one. I don't have it anymore. But like when I bought it, it was one thing I was like, okay, this one I want, kind of no ticks. I want it to look sharp.
Right.
The one I have is spine tick heaven on that one. I found it.
But isn't it your original one, or is that a different book I'm thinking of?
That's my Hulk 340s. My original.
Okay.
It came back in 92, but that Batman 423. I got it for $15 newsstand, and I sent it to CGC and came back as 7.0. So for $15. I thought that was a pretty good deal because it's probably $150, but there's a lot of spine ticks. I probably could have cleaned it and pressed it and maybe got a higher grade on it, but it's like I don't see them as badly. I don't know. Maybe the way the case covers it. I don't know. I don't notice it too much, but sometimes you buy something and you love it, and then like you put it off on the wall and like fuck it, you forget about it, and it's like, oh yeah, it's there, and it's not. I don't care about the spine ticks, and I got it for cheap and whatever, So, but I forgot there are other good books in that run because that's that whole Death of Robin, right? Death in the Family.
Yep, Death in the Family. There's Year One is 404 to 408. That's really the main stuff. KG Beast is in there, but that's not a huge book. That's like a $15 key at most. Other than that, I mean, again, First Bane, it was in that era. It was towards the end, but it's not part of the main run.
Yeah.
First Renee Montoya is in there again, but not a huge key. So it's.
But wait, what number is the actual Bane breaking the back of Batman?
That's 497.
Okay, so that's in there then.
It is in there. I do actually want the newsstand without that black cover. I want that at 9.8. I want it to go with my my First Bane. But nice. But yeah, no, like 400, 500 is not crazy key heavy. It has like a lot of minor keys. Again, 423 is the biggest book in there. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to get that out of the way. I actually got my 423 from 360 Comics, Joe. So he gave me a decent deal on it. And then, I think in that same claim sale too, I started my Aquaman collection. I bought like 6 books because I asked. This is what's really dangerous is because I asked the chat. I said, all right, am I starting an Aquaman collection right now? And of course, everyone's like, yeah, go for it. So I bought issue 50, 1615, and then 765. So
this
early Aquaman.
Oh, okay. So volume 1. Yeah,
volume 1. And
it's funny because so JP and I did a summer break, and then we've started back up. We've been doing I think this is like our 8th episode since we've come back.
Yep.
Prior to our break, we did 70 something episodes. Not one time did anyone ever mention Aquaman. Since we've been back in these like 8 episodes, you're the third person to mention that they're going to collect Aquaman.
Yep.
Hey, it's Nick Cardy. Everyone's noticing who he is now, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main reason why I started collecting him, because I love the artist so much. So I'm honestly, again, that's why I started collecting him, Teen Titans. I'm interested in starting the Ghosts run, which he did like the first half of, and then the other half was, I forget who the main cover artist was, but yeah, I'm following him very heavily right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can now kind of, because I do know a couple of those covers from the Aquaman run, so I probably now that you've given a name, Nick Cardy, I could probably.
Oh yeah. Basically, the
like.
entire run is his art. Besides, there was a jump where it was like, I forget the years, but they went a handful of years without printing out a new Aquaman book, and then they restarted it, and Jim Aparo picked it up, and he's a great artist too, so he picked it up. I love his artwork too, so he does the end of the Aquaman run, the last 10 or so issues, maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that number, but the most of the volume 1 is all Nick Cardy. So every cover.
And I tell you, I mean, you could get an Aquaman 1 is very affordable.
It's not a hard run to collect. That's why I also like the idea of it, because I can complete it, in somewhat of a good time. So
yeah,
it's not as daunting as Batman.
Yeah.
I'd say that Aquaman, Green Lantern, there's Flash.
Yeah.
And those are all big names from when we were kids, the Justice League of America, the cartoon, I think it was, or whatever that was.
Yep.
Yeah.
They even have the toys. I don't remember seeing the Justice Hall or whatever. That's a big like the G.I. Joe headquarters. This was like the Justice League headquarters and whatnot. The toy you can get there, those go for big money. So the fact that those names aren't big, I think they will be in the James Gunn run in some regard. So
I hope so.
Green Lantern and Flash both do have some high dollar books in their run, right? Even
absolutely,
even post Golden Age, right? Like Showcase 4, Showcase 22, first Guy Gardner, like they have, but whereas like Aquaman, I want to say you could buy an Aquaman 1 for like $250.
It's not bad at all.
He wasn't in the Golden Age at all, correct?
No, Aquaman was like the first Aquaman first appearance of Aquaman is like, I don't want to say it's like More Fun 52.
Yeah.
That's a spendy book. That is a spendy book. Yeah.
But as far as his first volume, though, he appeared a lot before his first ongoing series, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So those don't count, though, right?
Yeah.
That's too much. That's too many side pieces right there.
Oh my God, it's so many. I have so many. It's bad.
Don't tell your new lady friend about these.
Yes, don't call that in front of her. She'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably not.
You're like, that Aquaman's my side piece. She's like, what kind of guy is this?
Yeah, Batgirl over here. Yeah. I like looking at her. What are you talking about?
That's right.
I'm looking up real quick here. I want to see if I'm correct on the More Fun.
I think you are right. I think that's definitely the run. I don't know the
More Fun 73. It is More Fun. More Fun 73.
I gotcha.
There was a Loot Crate version I had of that book, More Fun 73. So it wasn't like $50 or something, but it was the reprint of that book, which they have behind me. I have the Detective Comics reprint too. So
cool.
Those are like thrillers for you.
On More Fun 73, it is also the first appearance of Green Arrow.
Oh, that's right. I always forget about that too.
Yeah.
They share the same first appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another character that not many people collect, but probably
no. I want to see more justice for Martian Manhunter. He does not have a ton of books out there.
His first appearance though does have it's got a hefty price on it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like he's such a cool character, and like you don't see him a lot, which is weird because he's part of the main Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
The main 7. So
yeah.
A lot of DC is very underrated. I feel like as of right now, with Marvel and everything. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't know why that is. With the success of Batman and the CW shows, The Flash was a great CW show. I don't care what anyone says. The Flash, what was the name of the Flash movie that came out with Michael Keaton? Was fucking awesome. I don't care what anyone says.
That movie sucked.
It was awesome. I thought it was awesome.
JP, I'm such a big Flash fan, and I cannot say that movie was great.
That movie sucks.
No way. You guys don't know.
It had good moments for sure, but as soon as the babies came on and I saw that CGI, it's when it took me out of the movie and I said, "What is that?" That's when it was all downhill from there.
There's a lot to. That's a whole other discussion.
I like the movie. I like the movie. It had a bigger storyline, underlying storyline that made more sense for depending on like your background. I think it said a lot or felt more for some people that you could see that movie and put aside the bad CGI and maybe enjoy the underlying story of the Flash.
Yeah.
So I think I thought it was a good movie. Again, seeing Michael Keaton back into it. If you're a Keaton fan,
that was one of the best parts of that movie was seeing Michael Keaton back.
I thought that was cool too. So it had everything I wanted, and I was pissed that people like Rohan fucking shit on it and whatnot. I thought it was a cool movie.
I wish
the popcorn bowl and the drink cup from it because I thought it was a cool movie. So.
I just wish they finally bring Reverse Flash onto the big screen. That's what I wanted mostly. But then they had the Dark Flash, I guess is what they called him.
Yeah, and what is it called? Flashpoint? What was it? No, that was the storyline. But what was the movie called?
It was just called Flash, I think.
Yeah, it was just called The Flash, but it was based off of Flashpoint, though.
Yeah,
but it was loosely based off of Flashpoint.
And that's one thing I don't like about if a movie isn't going to hit. I hate when they waste a really good character villain wise in a shitty movie. You know what I mean? Because then, like Darkseid would be great, but they kind of used him already once. Not that we won't see him again. Reverse Flash is a great villain.
The one with that in mind, like the one I think about a lot is if they, with X-Men, Phoenix, right? We've had 2 Phoenix movies that were not good, right? And so it's like, do they give it a third shot? I can't imagine anytime soon. So I totally understand.
I feel like they could. There's so many characters in comic books that the movie industry can use that they haven't even touched on yet.
Mm-hmm. Especially in X-Men, right? Like,
yeah, especially X-Men, even Batman too. Honestly, like there are big names that they like Clayface. I want to see a Clayface.
I actually, speaking of that and him being your favorite villain, the rumor has been that the next Batman to Matt Reeves Batman, that Mr. Freeze could be a potential villain. What would be interesting about that to me is because they've made it very clear that the Matt Reeves Batman is trying to make a as realistic take of the Batman universe. Like he builds his own car, he's made his own suit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They've kind of really grounded that first movie in if it was a thing like a realistic scenario.
Yeah.
And so when I heard that he was going to do was going to do Mr. Freeze, I was like, I would be very interested to see how they mesh those 2 concepts together.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Mr. Freeze definitely could work.
Definitely like in the origin in the sense of like his loss of his wife and things like that.
Right.
You could definitely play up, but is he going to have a freeze gun? And
I feel like the freeze gun and what he does, I feel like it's a little bit more realistic than, like the supernatural characters or like the
for sure,
like
definitely more than the
Clayface. Like
definitely more than the supernatural characters, sure.
Or like super powered,
Yeah.
Which I mean, I feel like a lot of Batman's villains are somewhat street level.
Yeah.
I also heard though that they were talking about how this next movie is going to deal a lot with the corruption of Gotham.
Well, yeah, that's why the Court of Owls is also.
Yeah, that's the other rumor I hear, which I also think would be really cool. But I almost think it would be better if they save that for the 3rd movie and kind of just set it up along.
I see. Yeah.
I think that would be.
They're going to be doing Hush. I thought Hush was going to be in there.
That too. I've heard that too. That's like the 3 main rumors I think are going around.
I just want, we should wrap up here, but I do want to ask, since you're a Batman fan, we're talking about this. Have you been watching The Penguin, Noah?
Yes.
Dude, JP, are you watching that at all? Oh. It is excellent. Like
it's so good.
Loving it. And are you up to date with it?
What was that?
Are you currently you've watched up through 7 episodes?
Yes. Yeah. I have watched.
I will say this about it for anyone, and I'm actually going to do after it ends, I'm going to do a review with Spro next week on it. It's, in my opinion, like, because of like this genre and like my love for it, like I don't need it to be like an Oscar-worthy type movie for me to enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need Daniel Day-Lewis like lighting the screen on fire for me to consider. Like, but like Penguin is, in my opinion, it's objectively just a good show.
It's
like outside of like the comic genre, it's just a good show. Like it's very Sopranos. Like it's just a good show.
Yeah, if you didn't know that it took place like in the Batman universe, I feel like you could completely take it as, oh, this isn't like a superhero related show at all.
Yeah, it's great. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll be sad when it ends, but I am looking forward to what they do in the finale. And again, that's where that ends, is where Batman 2 is going to pick up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a cool concept that Batman ended, Penguin picked up right where that ended, and it's going to tail off into where 2 starts. So
yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what they do with the finale, as well as if they're going to set anything up for the second movie.
Yeah.
Besides all of like the stuff they've already kind of teased and everything like that. So we'll see. I have faith in DC right now. I think James Gunn is going to do a good job.
I will say though, so I heard this yesterday, and I heard it from Spro. He said, or no, I saw it on Instagram. So like Matt Reeves has talked about how he wants to do more character pieces like the Penguin with other characters in the universe. But then I've also heard though that James Gunn is now actually squashing a lot of the projects Matt Reeves wants to do because he doesn't want that split like we were talking about earlier of this universe and this universe, but they're both DC. Right. So I don't love that. Like I would love to see things like the Penguin being made in like I'm good with both having to, but I do kind of understand why. It do too. Yeah, it would suck in terms of the timing of it, right? Like especially like when we've had such bad DC movies for so long, and it's like just so happened that so we have the potential for 2 good franchises now, and we're gonna kill one because we don't want it to overshadow one or the other. Like that kind of sucks.
You're talking a decade. That's the problem, is a decade. If he squashes it and James Gunn's version of Clayface sucks and it could have been better with Matt Reeves, then you just wasted 10 years of development.
No, 100%. Like if he is for sure actively squashing it and it ends up being a flop, it'll be a huge shame that we squashed something that we already know. Like I loved the Batman movie and I'm loving the Penguin. So I'm all for seeing more of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand the perspective of not letting it get too big to where everyone's going to be confused, especially the people that don't follow it like we do. But they did separate it, like when they did their whole panel of all the movies coming out. They said, okay, this is the main ones, and then you have Elseworlds down here. But again, like, I do understand not letting it too big, but I think you should let it grow enough to have a full story, something where it'll have a beginning and end, and it's and it ends right. But I understand him not letting it get too big, but I hope it does all work out.
Well, look at Sony and what the hell they're doing with Venom and Morbius and shit. Like, not that we're near that, but still, like, that's probably James Gunn's worry, is that if I let some other director take over, it'll go down that path.
I think there's a lot of sensible reasons to understand if he is in fact doing that, why he would do that. Again, we as fans who enjoyed it, like, we just hope that it's not killing something that was great.
Right. Absolutely. As far as Sony, I think they need to get rid of, they sell all your property back to Marvel.
As I've told people, like, Sony won't, because they don't give a shit about the movies, right? They're making billions on the video games. So they could care less if they lose millions.
But they have to make the movies that retain the right.
As the contract stands, as I understand it. Now, is there a legal way that Disney can say, hey, we want to buy the movie making rights. You can keep the video game. I have no idea. That would be great, but we shall see.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But
yeah.
Faith in James Gunn, faith in DC.
Yeah.
Marvel, I hope they stay alive. I don't want a complete downfall.
As I said before, right? Like DC being good will only make Marvel better, right? Because the they'll need to, combat.
Yeah.
Like competition is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just want it all to grow. I want everyone to more people in the comic hobby. That's how I came in, was from the movies. I think that's a lot of this next generation of comic collectors is going to be a part of, growing up with the movies and everything.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I love watching new people come into the hobby too. It's great.
Yeah. Awesome. Noah, this has been a joy. Thanks for
it's been an absolute blast.
Joining us. Why don't you, as we wrap up, tell everyone where to find you and all that. We'll link all of that stuff in the description and do all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. So on Instagram, I am brokeboy_comics, and YouTube, my channel is just brokeboycomics, no underscore. I try to put out videos as much as I can. I'll be on multiple live streams coming up. I have the Comic-Con podcast tomorrow. I'll be on 3 Men in the Basement channel. I'm going to be on Justin No Good Comics channel next week. So got a lot of stuff coming up. So
excellent.
We're definitely staying active. We're not, hiding under a rock or anything. So
there we go.
We took like a 4-week sabbatical and I was gone for too long. So
all right. Love it. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. JP, why don't you take us out?
Yeah, thanks, Noah. And remember, everyone, always believe in yourself and you'll get a Batman 1 someday.
There you go.
Peace out.
Thank you very much.
Later.